He would love to depose Blake Lively in Madison Square Garden and sell tickets for a live stream. I feel like if you're not willing to testify, you're definitely guilty of something.
Blake Lively absolutely snapped inside the courtroom when new reports suddenly exposed her hidden controversies during the tense middle of her ongoing trial there.
Interview that Blake Lively did where he closed off all the comments, and everyone's like, since you closed the comment section on the Blake Lively interview, we are commenting here instead. So I'm sure at this point Seth Meyers really regret putting her.
She believed stepping into court to testify would flip the story in her favor, but damaging leaks hit before she could say a word, and now the whole case is unraveling faster than her public image ever did. So this is where everything takes a hilarious, theatrical, and chaotic turn.
Shocking news, but Friedman was like, well, listen, if you're going to try and manipulate the press into making a headline and making it seem like this is groundbreaking, great, then I'm going to do the same thing.
Blake Lively's legal team believed they could steer the courtroom story using quiet remarks and polished headlines. But then Brian Friedman arrived blasting attention with a megaphone and an unforgiving spotlight.
He said, since Miss Lively is open to testifying, let's make it count. Hold the deposition at Madison Square Garden, sell tickets or stream it, and donate every dollar to organizations helping victims of domestic abuse.
He didn't merely respond. He mocked their whole operation outright, saying let's depose her at Madison Square Garden, yes, MSG the arena, and he kept going by offering to sell tickets, stream everything live, and donate every dollar to domestic violence survivors, while confirming Justin will also be testifying. Which is how you call someone's bluff while raising money for a cause they claim to champion and conveniently ignored during their small red carpet tour for It Ends With Us amid their flashy Hollywood run.
He also confirmed that Justin will also be testifying.
And the internet loved every second as comments exploded and people were joking about popcorn sales, custom merch, and group watch parties, but beneath the memes came a real shift in tone. This was not just courtroom drama anymore, this became public theater, and Blake walked herself straight into this.
It's already acknowledged that there's a major public interest in the case, so, I think I like
the same woman who spent months delivering pointed monologues in magazines, who name-dropped powerful figures like Taylor Swift and Hugh Jackman to sell her victimhood, now faced someone asking why not put everything on stage. You said you wanted to speak your truth. Great. Do it under oath and on camera today publicly.
Buy a ticket for that, and how much you would like to pay to see Blake Lively being grilled by Brian Friedman.
Blake's team absolutely did not love that, which is when her attorney Mike Gattel rushed straight to People magazine with a carefully crafted, almost panicked response meant to regain control.
The reason why he wants to do this is to support DV victims that Blake Lively didn't support during her promotion of It Ends With Us. So he's saying that all the money that they're making from this, they would give to DV survivors.
He dismissed the subpoenas involving Taylor Swift and Ryan Reynolds as irrelevant, attempted to portray Friedman as a fame-hungry lawyer pulling random celebrities into a case that had nothing to do with them.
Gottlieb, who is Blake Lively's main lawyer, I think, came out in People magazine and said that it's completely unclear what claims or defenses in the case any of these celebrities have any relevance at all.
But let's be real. Who dragged those celebrities into this?
Blake.
From day one, she made sure Taylor's name was circulating in the story. Hugh Jackman became part of the marketing rollout, and Ryan, literally her husband, was named in the countersuit and accused of actively helping smear Baldwin behind the scenes.
That it's so unnecessary for Brian Friedman to depose Taylor Swift and Ryan Reynolds because they really had nothing to do with any of this. And Lively's lawyers expressed concerns that there may be a media circus around the trial if celebrities are unnecessarily called to testify.
So when Gotta-Do claims they're trying to avoid a media circus, it's laughable because this entire situation already is a circus, and they built the tent. If Blake didn't want a celebrity parade, she shouldn't have let it, and if she didn't want attention on her friends, she shouldn't have used them as legal shields and emotional props. It's like setting your own house on fire and then complaining that the fire department arrived with too many lights.
Necessarily, it's completely necessary. So he's saying that we don't expect this case is going to turn into a circus of parading in every celebrity that might have ever had a conversation with Blake Lively or Ryan Reynolds.
Friedman's suggestion wasn't merely a joke, it was a challenge. You've said your truth belongs in the courtroom. Fine. Let everyone see it, because right now your team looks like they're doing damage control, not building a case, tossing around terms like irrelevant and unnecessary without explaining why Blake's celebrity influence shouldn't be examined, especially when that influence appears to have twisted a movie, a workplace, and a man's career into her personal playground.
I think he could actually make a really decent amount of money. I would really like to see Blake Lively trying to explain her way out of all the things that she's been claiming. You know, now that we've seen all the evidence from Justin Baldoni and how she's going to explain, for example, the dancing scene that we really have.
At this point, the public isn't just curious, they're fully invested, having watched the story shift from harassment to retaliation, from victimhood to press manipulation, and now there's growing buzz about holding that deposition in the world's most iconic arena.
You know, Brian Friedman's been out and about talking about this all the time, and they've been accusing him of doing like this press tour.
The same arena that hosted Beyoncé could now potentially host Blake Lively being grilled under oath. And the twist is it's all for a good cause, which stings because while Blake positioned herself as a crusader for women, she's remained mostly silent on actual victims, and Friedman's MSG idea throws that hypocrisy right in her face.
Now finally Blake Lively's lawyers are coming out.
It's no longer about who tells the better story. It's about who's willing to back it up in public. And so far, Blake's team looks like they're sprinting the opposite way, dragging denial statements, PR damage control, and please don't subpoena Taylor arguments behind them. But the court of public opinion isn't letting this one slide, and neither is Brian Friedman.
Blake Lively or Ryan Reynolds, or in the same way about any famous person who might have ever had a conversation with Justin Baldoni or his business associates. So he's saying that we don't need to depose all these people close to Justin Baldoni, so he doesn't need to do the same to.
So when Blake Lively's legal team began releasing polished soundbites and emotional buzzwords to sway the media, Brian Friedman didn't waste time matching their tone. He went straight for the jugular with a response that was neither a counterstatement nor a carefully curated PR move.
Came out and responded to this as he usually does, which I really like about him. He's not hiding anywhere. He's not afraid to speak his mind because he knows has the truth on his side.
Just raw, direct heat. He declared that the truth isn't a distraction and backed it up by confirming that unedited receipts, documents, and live footage are already lined up with no redactions, no strategic leaks. Just raw evidence ready to tear through the curated story Blake's team has been selling since day one.
A distraction. The truth has been clearly shown through unedited receipts, documents, and real-life footage. More to...
And that wasn't even the only jab. He went straight for the jugular by accusing Blake of dragging her famous friends, Taylor Swift, Hugh Jackman, even Ryan Reynolds, into the legal mess not for support but as weapons, or as he called them, her dragons, not witnesses or bystanders, tools of manipulation, with Taylor allegedly influencing the script, rewrites, and some casting decisions for It Ends With Us. Hugh mysteriously featured across early campaign materials for a film he had nothing to do with, and Ryan, well, he gets his own scandal.
Was the one who brought her high-profile friends into the situation without concern for their own personal or public backlash. As the truth shows, she used her dragons to manipulate Justin at every...
Because Friedman didn't stop at highlighting Ryan's proximity, he accused him of turning Disney, yes, billion-dollar Disney, into a personal grudge weapon, claiming that the Nice Paul character from Ryan's 2022 Disney Plus film was deliberately modeled on Baldoni, a soft-spoken, overly polished, manipulative villain mirroring how Blake's team tried to portray Baldoni in their complaint.
Friedman keeps talking about Ryan Reynolds' involvement here and how he based the Nice Paul character on Justin Baldoni to basically mock him, as we know. We talked.
Not only was this done using Disney's budget, but it was also released on Disney's platform, which led Friedman to the next point. Was Disney complicit in misusing shareholder resources to fund personal vendettas? He says yes, and if that's true, this isn't just a Hollywood feud anymore. It's a legal grenade aimed straight at Disney's corporate lawyers.
That was Disney actually complicit in Ryan using shareholder revenues to further a personal grudge? I would be surprised to learn that this type of corporate waste would not lead to much more exposure for those that have been complicit in it, affecting shareholders' revenue.
And what's even more chaotic is that Friedman is doing all of this with no celebrity entourage, no press tour, no publicists planting quotes in People magazine. Just a stack of hard evidence that he claims will be far more compelling than any PR stunt Blake's team can buy, making his point crystal clear. The receipts speak louder than Blake's tears.
I love that he's going for Disney as well. This must be so embarrassing for Ryan Reynolds. He was just having fun at work as usually, just bullying someone, and then he's dragging Disney.
Now, while Brian's side is openly discussing documents, footage, and statements, all on record, Blake's team is playing a completely different game, one built on suggestion and suspense, with her lawyer Mike Gattel recently claiming there are multiple witnesses who either saw Baldoni's misconduct or experienced it firsthand, and that their testimonies, supposedly, are going to be bombshells.
I'm sure Brian Friedman will depose people working for Disney as well. He's gonna go all the way. Gottlieb, on the other hand, Blake Lively's lawyer, he's saying that, that he wants to keep Blake's inner circle out of the trial.
The problem? Not a single one has stepped forward, publicly, anonymously, or even through leaks. Nothing, no documents, no footage, no confirmed depositions. Just vague statements about what will supposedly be revealed once the trial begins, making it feel like the entire case is being held together by a movie trailer.
Here with Lively, so we would of course expect her to be a witness at her trial. Of course she's going to testify. I was a little surprised that there were even talks about her not testifying. Why wouldn't she testify?
And critics are starting to ask, if these witnesses are real and their stories are strong, why hide them? Why hold back now, when those claims could be used to push for a settlement or apply pressure during pre-trial negotiations? In legal strategy, revealing strong evidence early is how you corner your opponent, unless you don't actually have it, which is exactly the suspicion forming online.
Gottlieb is saying that Blake Lively has all these witnesses that's going to come forward and talk about how Justin Baldoni really was on the side of it. And with
some legal analysts suggest this is textbook courtroom theater, a tactic to build anticipation, inflate perceived leverage, and hope Baldoni's side caves before the trial even begins, hinting at smoking guns without ever showing them and relying on headlines to do the rest. But that game only works if no one calls your bluff, and unfortunately for Blake's team, Friedman is very publicly calling it.
I find it weird that these people haven't come out so far, and that there's no stories even those anonymous sources that she was talking about in her lawsuit were just like, it didn't make any sense.
He's already stated that he's seen no credible complaints from crew members or studio staff, claiming any allegations that reached his desk are either distorted or entirely non-existent. And in fact, one of the only actual crew quotes came from a Spokeo media leak about Blake having cold sores, which ironically had nothing to do with misconduct, but sparked its own separate wave of gossip.
Gottlieb says that there are individuals who are witnesses to or experience misconduct that is relevant to Ms. Lively's claims. We expect their testimony, particularly about what took place on set.
Blake's legal team keeps promising that everything will be clarified at trial, but it's beginning to look like the trial is the stage they're betting everything on, aiming to build suspense, dramatize the narrative, and hope public sympathy carries the rest. Yet unless those mystery witnesses appear with verifiable claims under oath, this part of the case could collapse the moment it faces cross-examination.
Willing to do this on the stand, but they're not willing to tell her lawyer these things before trial.
And here's the issue. Even the public is growing weary of these vague emotional appeals, having watched the story shift from sexual harassment to emotional discomfort to retaliation, and now some theatrical third act built on invisible witnesses. While Blake's team keeps promising revelations, Brian's camp is sitting on hard drives packed with time-stamped files, paper trails, and surveillance data. One side has mystery, the other has metadata.
Really weird. Why, if you have all these smoking guns laying around, why wouldn't you use it? Because you could use that to push for a settlement, obviously, or to get the case.
At the start of the circus, Blake Lively branded herself as a bold, unwavering voice for survivors, a warrior woman standing shoulder to shoulder with the Me Too movement. with her legal team even portraying her as a kind of martyr, brave enough to confront Hollywood's toxic culture. But fast forward a few months, and the narrative has flipped harder than a Netflix script rewrite, suddenly shifting from harassment to retaliation.
Instead, they're just holding on to all the evidence and the witnesses that they have. It doesn't make any sense. Like Lively's lawyer also says that the evidence will show that the cast and others had their own negative experiences with Mr. Baldoni.
Her lawyer, Mike Gattel, recently told People magazine that the heart of the case is retaliation, claiming Blake raised serious sexual harassment concerns on set and faced professional punishment in response. But here's the kicker. Nobody actually knows what the original harassment was supposed to be, and when you dig through the amended complaint, you're met with neither horrifying trauma nor even borderline misconduct.
Evidence will also show that Sony asked Miss Lively to oversee Sony's cut of the film, which they then selected for distribution, and was a resounding success.
And here's where it gets even more ridiculous. One of the key incidents Blake's team keeps spinning is the infamous cow comment meltdown, which didn't even start with Baldoni but with her own trainer. During pre-filming rehearsals, Baldoni allegedly asked plainly how much Blake weighed because he was prepping for a lift scene and needed to avoid injuring his back. A standard practice on sets involving physical contact or choreography, with no insult, no judgment. Just a functional question.
Response, talking about Wayfarer and Baldoni's 2SH allegations, she wanted it. It's her fault.
But that simple question, how much does she weigh, took a wild turn once it reached Blake's ears. According to sources on her legal team, it was the trainer who turned that line into gossip, delivering it back to Blake like a whispered tabloid headline, and she reportedly became enraged, interpreting it as fat-shaming, which is ironic because even the trainer, the supposed messenger, has never confirmed that Baldoni ever used the term cow at all.
She's wearing. They never said that either. In short, while the victim focuses on the abuser focuses on the victim. The strategy of attacking the woman is dead.
Still, Blake allegedly ran with it, with her legal team framing it as an example of workplace hostility, while the same trainer supposedly told Blake that Baldoni thinks you're too big, a claim unverified by any third party involved in the production, with no audio, no written complaint, and no supporting witness. Yet the narrative was set. Suddenly, it wasn't about physical safety during stunts. It was about body shaming.
Not refute the evidence in Ms. Lively's complaint, and it will fail. I mean, this is so absurd. How can they even say this? There's no grounds for anything she's saying.
What we're seeing isn't a clear case of misconduct. It's emotional chaos weaponized into litigation, with legal filings relying on interpretation, innuendo, and memory rather than facts or timestamps. And when the strongest evidence involves a trainer retelling a gym floor comment and a lead actress taking offense at the word sexy in a love scene, maybe the case was never really about justice to begin with.
Discovery will have an opportunity to really focus on what we believe to be the core part of the case, which is that this retaliation campaign was launched against Ms. Lively for her having raised concerns about aise.
One of the strangest parts of this lawsuit isn't just what's in the court documents, it's who's not officially in them. According to Blake Lively's camp, her celebrity entourage has nothing to do with the case, with Taylor Swift and Hugh Jackman being totally irrelevant, they claim, except that's not what the paper trail actually suggests.
Retaliation campaign. We are all proof of that. Me in particular, I have the evidence that that didn't happen because I posted that video on my own terms without even knowing about everything that was going on the set of events with that.
Let's start with Taylor Swift, who didn't just send flowers or tweet big support. According to multiple production insiders, Taylor was directly involved in script rewrites and casting decisions during the early stages of It Ends With Us, with studio sources quietly confirming she reviewed portions of the screenplay before final casting was locked, and while her name never appeared on official production documents, her behind-the-scenes involvement was widely whispered throughout the Columbia-Sony pipeline.
He also accuses Baldoni's attorney of just subpoenaing celebrities just to get attention and headlines in the media.
Then there's Hugh Jackman, who was prominently featured in the film's early promotional campaigns despite never appearing in the actual movie. He wasn't listed as a producer, didn't voice a character, and wasn't in any cameo scenes, yet he was tagged in digital promo assets, included in teaser previews, and name-dropped during press junkets, with critics saying his image was used to add prestige to the rollout. A PR tactic designed to give the Blake-led project extra shine.
He's saying that you can't just go around subpoenaing people because they're famous and you think you'll generate a bunch of headlines. And the federal courts don't tolerate that kind of behavior.
Now here's where it gets legal. If Taylor helped rewrite scripts or influence casting, and Hugh's image was used to sell a narrative that didn't reflect reality, they become material to the case. If Blake hijacked a movie by bending industry arms behind the scenes, then those assisting her, even off the record, are part of that operation, and Brian Friedman knows it, which is why there's now serious pressure to subpoena them both.
If you file a sham lawsuit to get subpoenaed from someone, that they will tolerate, but they won't tolerate that you are subpoenaing people because they're celebrities.
Zach Peter joked that at this point they might as well put the entire end credits team on the stand. And honestly, that doesn't feel far off, because the way Blake weaponized her proximity to fame, slipping it into press statements, legal filings, and Instagram posts, transformed this from a harassment case into a full-blown celebrity chess match. And now everyone who touched that board, including Taylor and Hugh, could be called to explain just how deep their fingerprints really go.
And of course, Brian Friedman is responding, and he says that although obviously uncomfortable for the lively parties, the truth is not.
Meanwhile, Ryan Reynolds isn't just one of those fingerprints. He's practically the ink, because unlike Taylor and Hugh, Ryan is officially named in Justin Baldoni's countersuit, and it's not symbolic at all, as his inclusion follows direct allegations that he used his industry influence to blacklist Baldoni from future projects, leak damaging information to third parties, and portray him as a predator within elite Hollywood circles.
Truth has been clearly shown through unedited receipts, documents, and live.
Let's get specific. During a Freakonomics live podcast taping in New York, Ari Emanuel, the head of WME, stated on stage that we fired Baldoni, and that Blake and Ryan were ride or die, and that episode was being taped for public release until it suddenly vanished from the publishing schedule, with production staff blaming a technical failure, while insiders claim it was pulled because of legal risk.
Justin Baldoni will, of course, also testify. Anyways, yesterday I spoke about how this person that's an expert in fake followers and whatever on social media said that 80% of all the pro-Baldoni tweets are from.
And why would Ari say that publicly? Because he didn't think it would come back to bite him, but now it just might, since that quote alone strengthens Baldoni's claim that powerful industry players were coordinated in pushing him out, with Ryan Reynolds as Blake's husband and the face of multiple studio-backed franchises, allegedly playing a central role in that effort.
If he flew private, every week he's flying 3 different places, so I'm wondering if he's actually serious about that UN contract that he signed for sustainability. Because if Ryan Reynolds didn't fly private, there would be paparazzi shots of him from the airport, either in LA or New York or wherever.
Friedman has already hinted at this angle in media appearances, questioning how Disney shareholders would feel if they knew company revenue was potentially used to settle personal vendettas, and if that claim is proven, it doesn't just make Reynolds look petty, it makes him look dangerous. A Hollywood power broker in sneakers allegedly using billion-dollar brands to erase his wife's opposition.
I mean, isn't he supposed to be a good example? Isn't he the one that actually went to UN to sign this? But anyway, so there are no celebrities commenting on his Instagram anymore.
Yet despite all this, Ryan remains largely silent, with his team denying comment on any inquiries related to the case, his Instagram replies limited, and engagement plummeting. No more heart emojis from Hugh Jackman, no more playful banter with famous friends, just fan pages and bot accounts, keeping the likes up, while Hugh has even stopped interacting altogether. So, while Blake's team insists this trial isn't about celebrity cameos, the backstage choreography tells a different story. Taylor wrote lines, Hugh sold optics, and Ryan allegedly cleared the field. And now with subpoenas looming and court dates approaching, everyone's wondering which of them will be called from the green room to the witness stand, leaving the question, was this a courtroom battle or just Blake Lively's most dramatic role yet? Let us know in the comments.